上单的话，英雄选择更加多样化了嘛，就很多英雄都是能上场的。不过对我来说的话，可能就还是主要玩一些版本强势的英雄，然后平时训练赛也会试，就胜率好的话都会拿上比赛用的。接下来要跟 FPX 交手了，之前有跟他们交手过一次，感觉他们打野选手非常激进，然后之后碰到他们的话，可能从野区针对他们。
It's cool hearing 957's thoughts on top lane. Now, Frusk, I feel like the way that you're looking at me, that you may disagree with that sentiment.
The first thing out of his mouth is that we play a lot more champions, there's more versatility. I'm like, do you? Are you? I'm seeing a lot of Galio, a lot of Kog'Maw, a lot of these Caitlyn picks, and none of that is really new.
True. They're pretty much a two-composition team right now, and it works against a lot of teams, but apparently it's not working against FPX. I do want to talk about champion select, though, because you were very passionate about it in Game 1. You're very unhappy with how it went, because if you look at the end, is this like an ends justifies the means thing? But you were very unhappy with how the means were going.
So if you looked at their composition, they got Nar, Kha'Zix, Zoe, Kog'Maw, Kench. You look at that, you're like, those are great champions. What are you talking about, Frostgreen? It's a perfect setup.
Yeah.
It just came down to execution. But again, if you actually look at how they showed their work, it basically said 1 + 1 = 16 divided by no fun equals Tom Kench. And you're like, well, the answer is correct, but how we got there was a disaster. Like, there were so many weird priority picks.
Yeah.
The fact that Tom Kench was last pick up there, that Ornn fell completely through the draft phase, that Kha'Zix was the priority from red side. There's just a couple of question marks, and it's fine because FPX knew what they wanted and then they executed on it, but they gave away a lot of free weapons.
But it was from both sides, right? Like, WE gave them away, but it was okay because FPX did as well, and then we kind of ended up in these compositions.
And it's a very similar thing that we saw against Vici Gaming, where Team WE in game number 1 played the Caitlyn with the Janna, the fast push strategy, but they got 5 ADC bans in that game, and then picked it up in kind of second rotation, and then coming into game 2, they prioritized the Caitlyn instead of the Janna, don't have the same ADC bans, and then Vici grabbed the Varus and are able to almost throw an entire wrench in Team WE's plan. It was only their superior 5v5 that allowed them to continue to win the game. So it's like, do Team WE even really recognize in their draft phase what's important for the compositions that they're playing? Because I've seen multiple blunders coming out of them.
Now, if you put a percentage value on it, how much of that game's problems was WE's draft versus their execution in game?
Probably about, I'm going to say 90% in execution.
Okay.
I don't really subscribe to the mentality that a team can win or lose in draft phase. I know analysts will go, as I just like smack myself with my pen, analysts will go, thank you, analysts will go back and forth kind of debating this, but for all we know, coaches walk away from that and they're like, we got exactly what we wanted. Because again, you look at FPX draft, a lot of those champions aren't as high priority, if you will, as some of the champions that WE got, but it came down to the execution of the strategy for them to win the game. So I'm always going to say it's mostly execution based versus just straight raw draft.
Now, if we're talking about FPX, we just see the same thing from them? Because, okay, you weren't happy with like how it went for either team in terms of their draft and their priority of the draft, but last thoughts on how FPX move into the second game?
I'd like to see them either take away the Caitlyn strategy. I don't want to see them run it back again. I think Team WE will actually try harder to grab it because it just beat them in game number 1. I would like to see something completely different from LWX. Either a Tristana pickup or maybe even a Vayne if they really want to deny the Caitlyn and kind of open up the champion pool farther. But I'd like to see FPX showcase to Team WE, this is why you have to be multi-dimensional and beat them with a different strategy.
And frankly, FPX are the team that would very much be likely to do so as we send it over to our casters. So take it away, guys. Get into game number 2.
Thank you very much, guys. We are going to take this one into game number 2. FunFlus Phoenix currently 1 up against Team WE, and they played really well in game 1.
Yeah, they honestly played super well. They got a small lead. They closed out the entire game from it. I will echo FLICKR just for a little bit and say the draft was a question mark between both of these teams. But if we take the draft out of the equation and just look at how they played the game and how they executed the game, definitely kudos to FPX for playing it super well, and question marks will be there for Team WE. What actually went wrong for them, and why did they just spend the whole game scaling and never spend any of it fighting? It did feel like they could have done something at certain points.
Yeah, FunFlus Phoenix, they stuck to their guns every single step of the way. They made sure they're taking small incremental advantages. even when Team WE were equalizing the goal lead, they didn't stress out, they didn't freak out, they didn't force any plays, just made sure they kept taking those small advantages and they were able to come out ahead. And throughout the later stages of the game, LWX looked like an absolute monster in the Caitlyn. FLICKR has said that she'd like him, you know, to play a different champion coming to this match. What are your thoughts? Are we still going to see that Caitlyn pick up from FunFlus Phoenix or something different this time
I
around?
would love to see the Caitlyn again, but I have a feeling that whilst it may not be banned, that WE will put a pretty high priority on that champion. Now, they had a Zoe in the last game that's obviously super high priority for Team WE, but they put a higher onus on both the Kog'Maw and the Kha'Zix. So I think that part will change in their draft phase. And I am surprised by this ban of FPX, and I did have a feeling that if this were the case, we may get that Vayne.
Well, Caitlyn is the final ban from FunFlus Phoenix. Still respecting the Galio from xiye and Kalista, a ban, the first ban that came out from FPX, as well as Camille, Ryze, and Kog'Maw decided TWE.
And of course, that's the reason that Caitlyn is banned at all, is because the Kog'Maw has been there, so they choose to match it coming into their own first pick, knowing that WE may have gone for it if the Kog'Maw was already banned. So a lot of respect being shown by both of these teams to each respective AD carry. Well, now we have to explore the route that they will be going for their picks.
Still the first pick of Jarvan coming in for 957. Sorry, for Condi in the jungle. And first pick for FunFlus Phoenix. They pick up the Varus heading into the bottom lane.
Yeah, Varus a bit of extra lane control as the bottom lane 2v2 goes, and we have switched up the middle lane as well.
Emperor of Shurima is going to be returning to the Rift for Bing in the mid lane against xiye. You be careful, Rusty. Don't knock over this desk. We need it, okay?
Me, dude. I don't know what to tell you. It attacked me first.
Look, I know you just woke up. I know it's still morning for you, all right? But we need this desk right here. Can't flip it.
Can't tell me what to do, Dad.
Team WE going to pick up their next two picks here. Vladimir being locked in for 957, most likely. We were debating whether Gimgoon or Bing would be playing the champion in the last match, and it did go into the top lane, where Xayah is Mystic's AD carry of choice.
Yeah, you'll primarily see the Vladimir, of course, go towards the top side of the Rift. It's more of a random flex towards mid lane, and xiye is actually a very good Vladimir player, so if need be, that's still something worth considering this time around also. But he's into an Azir, and that's a pretty rough matchup. In fact, the last time we saw xiye play Vladimir into Azir, we actually saw him run at the Azir and die for actually no reason. If you haven't seen that, I would recommend watching it. It's quite funny.
Yeah, didn't really like that video very much.
I enjoyed the heck out of it.
Sejuani is going to be the final pick in the first draft rotation for FunFlus Phoenix, picked up by Pepper heading into the jungle. We used to see a little bit of Sejuani top lane when she was reworked last year, but that didn't last very long. Now it's been constantly in the jungle with Fleet Footwork as the Keystone Mastery of choice.
But this doesn't strike me as the optimal Pepper champion. There is a Kha'Zix available, and we know how good he is on that champion, so with Jarvan locked in from their opponents and Sejuani prioritized for FPX, for the tank specifically prioritized, it makes me wonder if Gimgoon's going to play some kind of hyper carry in the top lane. Maybe he's the one that brings out something crazy. Now, note, of course, that he has played pretty much everything under the sun in top lane. In his 7 games, he played 6 different champions, one of them being Urgot, so don't rule that out of the equation.
Look, we don't mention that name while Pulse is on the analyst desk. He would not be happy if Urgot gets locked in here. You know, he does not know what I said. That's why I made sure to check, because he would be very mad. But Shen and Maokai have been the 2 bans from FunFlus Phoenix. We have Na being banned out from Team WE. So very heavy top lane bans. Yes, the Shen is kind of a flex into the bottom lane, but Gangplank, the final ban coming out from Team WE.
It does make you wonder where they're looking towards here. Of course, Camille already gone. Na, Gangplank, Shen, Maokai all taken away. There is still Ornn for the top lane. I wonder if that's going to be a priority. Perhaps they're baiting the Vladimir into the middle lane by last picking Gimgoon's top laner and saying, we'll pick up a Braum here, or we'll pick up a support here, whatever it may be. WE could feel like it's a good idea. Perhaps it's a really good strategy to just ruin the top lane champion pool by picking Ornn, the last remaining tank.
Always an option, and with the Braum pickup, that could definitely be what FunFlus Phoenix look to try and do. Team WE have the opportunity to pick it up themselves and deny it from Gimgoon, but not the best pick into Braum at the moment. They'll have to show their hand here. Still looking for a support, looking for either a mid laner or a top lane pick. And they could go for the back-to-back Zoe. We know this is a very high priority pick. xiye plays well on the champion, but FunFlus Phoenix just look like they know how to play around this Zoe pick.
I'm still a big fan of Zoe being locked. It forces the mid laner to go cleanse, and in any kind of 2v2 trade, if there's a Jarvan on your team, just high damage, makes the 2v2 very dangerous, and you should be able to kill Bing in this case if you lock him down. So I like the Zoe, and against xiye is a very good Zoe player. I don't think he was the reason that they lost by any means. We round out WE's composition.
And Rakan's the final pick for Team WE in the bottom lane to pair up with Xayah, the Lovers bottom lane.
As you would expect, of course. And now, this may well be locked in. Do not discredit this as a possibility. Cho'Gath has been seen as a Vladimir counter, but this is also one of those awkward picks where I'm pretty sure the bear trap on a rope still pulls you back even in puddle form.
I believe it still does. FunFlus Phoenix still have some time to decide what they're going to be picking up in the top lane. And now analysts backstage, Clement Chu is going to be pretty happy with this pick because Gimgoon is going to be charging into the top lane against 957's Vladimir. And with that Ignite pickup, possibly going for Unsealed Spellbook as well.
I certainly like Kled a lot less after that fish. It's definitely exciting. I think you're right, actually, by having the Ignite there. It's just the staple into Vladimir. You want to have Ignite for the winning lane pressure. You can see that 957 really torn with what he should have as summoners as well. Most Vladimirs run Spellbook themselves. But Gimgoon, he's gone for the Kled. It is his signature pick. It's absolutely the way to go. The staple for FPX with all these top laners gone. But they don't go the EDG route. They don't lock in the Cho'Gath or the Hyper Tank in the top lane. They go for a Bruiser style of champion. They want to win that 1v1.
And Kled, very popular pick in 2017. He's a very new champion to League of Legends. But only a champion that only some top laners will be picking up from time to time. And it's always a niche pick, always a pocket pick. It seems like FunFlus Phoenix have prepared this for the second game against Team WE.
It's definitely seen a lot less currently, so it's still a surprise that it's locked in. I don't think Kled is weak in the current meta. I do wonder what rune that they would usually be going towards. I know that Clement will have all of the answers and more. I'm sure just blasting out on social media because he'd be excited. But in saying that, by opting towards the Unsealed Spellbook is the real challenge for me here. When he goes up against the Vladimir in the 1v1, can he keep toe-to-toe? And does Ignite actually make the difference, especially once you hit the level 7+ mark? Or does the Vladimir just have too much presence then?
Well, last game, Vladimir was pushed underneath his turret for quite some time against 957's Nah. However, this time, the roles have been reversed. 957's the one on the Vladimir pick. Kled into the top lane for FunFlus Phoenix. Team WE have definitely swapped things up. No more late game or super late game scaling for their side. Let's see if they just decide to change their strategy this time around going up against FunFlus Phoenix.
Of course, with the full team compositions locked in as well, you get to see that FPX, not only do they have the Kled in the top lane, not only do they charge aggressively towards their opponents, they still have the capabilities of a winning bottom lane, an aggressive, engaged jungler, as well as high pressure and scaling damage in the middle lane themselves. As pretty much the FPX staple, they could fight in any of these lanes they choose.
We hear the FunFlus Phoenix fans getting louder with each game, Rusty. We didn't quite know what to expect from FunFlus Phoenix heading into the LPL this year, but they definitely have impressed us so far. Even though I believe they're 1-2 right now on the ladder.
Yeah, I mean, their score on the ladder doesn't reflect how exciting this team has been. I remember actually going through the LPL AMA on Reddit and explicitly stating that they'd be a top 2 team for my bold prediction. So I'm happy for them that they're winning.
Once again, heading on to the Rift. Both teams are just going to fan out across the river, spot out for any delayed invades or any early invades from either team. But as with what has been happening so far in 2018, there are none.
No.
No one really wants to fight. And again, both junglers will be starting on the bottom side of the map. So it'll be blue buff for Pepper. Condi will pick up his own red.
Of course, Xayah starting with Rakan, so W is always going to be the way to go. Pushing at level 1 is always going to be the thing that you see. Against the Varus and a Braum, however, it's not the easiest lane to push into, especially past the level 2 mark when Braum can put the door up. So we'll see how this goes early. As Condi, speaking of early, just doesn't really want Bing to touch a minion. You can't have those.
Just walk straight into the mid lane.
I wonder if he denied any experience by doing that from Bing as well. Like a level advantage may well be there for xiye.
Potentially. But Condi's made his way straight into Pepper's jungle. Pepper's going to spot this one out.
All right, buddy.
Pepper happy to go toe-to-toe. He takes a single Raptor away, and Pepper doesn't really care at the moment. Did knock down the Sejuani. Did knock down Pepper's passive, so Condi gets a good trade out of this. He decides to turn around. Good Frozen coming out from the Sejuani. Flag drag combo. These two junglers just going to go at it early. Look at the Chickers. The Chickers want to fight as well.
Pepper's losing the trade overall. A red buff there for Condi is the extra life sustain that he needs, but the smite battle continues. Both the same level.
Oh, he's going back in. This time Pepper's going to be able to flash away. Condi's still chasing him down, and he will take away the Raptor camp. That is really aggressive coming out from Condi.
And a lot of this has to come down to the mid laner's influence and how they're able to roam around and rotate around to affect the trades. xiye, You can see him on your screen just then with Condi. He's always going to be the first to move, it seems. And Pepper, instead of taking the fight, instead of choosing to take that battle, does opt into backing away Azir, or being seemingly unable to be there as the fastest, even though that is on his side of the map in his jungle.
Xiye was able to pick up a flash after Pepper used his inside of his own jungle. Used it aggressively there against Bing, but not able to get much out of it besides that paddle star. And although Pepper was able to path down to Condi's jungle, he is still going to get 3 buff to start in this game.
Random acts of aggression sitting in tri-bushes from FunFlus Phoenix.
Mystic gets some good damage on LWX. Ben jumps forward, only gets the knock up onto Crisp. Ben is picking up the unsealed spellbook, but this time around, none on the AD carries. 957, Xiye, as well as Gimgoon all have their unsealed spellbooks.
And Pepper also looking towards a gank in the bottom lane. He hasn't been spotted. Crisp seems to pretend to be AFK out of the bush. A classic support strategy. If the Q connects onto Mystic, they can go for it. I don't think it matters if it hits Ben. He's just got too much mobility with a Xayah in the lane, but there's a lot of time spent, a lot of time committed to something.
They're going. That's a flash forward for Chris. They tag Ben with the Winter's Bite, but look at that. Just jumps away and he's back to safety.
Yeah, Chris flashed. He was actually aiming for Mystic for the kill, but he accidentally hits Ben. So unfortunately for FPX, the idea was sound, but they lose a summoner spell for nothing on the other side of Team WE. Ben covers way too much distance.
Pepper just trying to make something happen in the early game. Xiye picks up a
definitely
teleport,
picked up a teleport, didn't
and he gets back to lane.
That's upsetting.
I
That's upsetting for
upset.
every mid laner that's ever existed.
Isn't the most... Oh, they're going for a fight, so we can't really talk about that just yet, but Chris will put up the shield. Gets good tag on the Mystic. Will get the stun down as well. LWX with good return damage. They will try to turn this one around and get some good damage back on the Chris. Ignite being used as well. Exhaust being popped on top of that. Mystic going toe against LWX. He has the minion wave fighting on his side. Mystic fairly low, but LWX can't get the last few auto attacks down.
There's too many minions, and WE choose to keep pushing forwards. A good heal from LWX, waiting for the Ignite to go down so that it's going to heal for the most. Keeps Crisp in it. And now the pressure in the bottom lane is still well and truly there for the FPX duo lane of LWX and Crisp. Nice try from WE, however, to turn that around, knowing full well that Crisp did not have his flash.
But thanks to Relic Shield, these two bottom laners will be fine. Both of them will pop a couple of pots and they'll go back to full health relatively quick. Xiye has hit level 6 in this mid lane.
Oh, and would you look at that, he has lane control. Almost like he teleported in, but he has heal.
So what's worse, when a Zoe picks up Redemption or when she picks up Teleport?
Haven't we had this conversation?
We haven't had it on air yet. We've had this conversation many times when we played together.
The answer is if I'm playing bottom lane Redemption, if I'm playing mid lane Teleport. Because if she teleports to my lane, but I'm trying to get tempo or control by using health or resources to force her out, that's upsetting. If I'm playing support and she Redemptions the lane at level 2, that's worse.
Well, no Redemption, just a Teleport. Has set Bing back a little bit in this lane. However, Pepper going toe-to-toe against Condi inside of his own jungle this time around.
We haven't had a chance to look at top lane either now that we finally see the characters. Gimgoon has a disadvantage as far as CS is concerned against 957, meaning that the early laning phases started off relatively poorly for the top laner of FunFlus Phoenix.
Not too good. Does have his stopwatch available now.
Of course, Kled isn't picked for his level 1 laning strength. He is more so one of those characters that wants a phage at the very least, not a full Black Cleaver needed, until he starts to ramp up. So it's usually first recall, if not second recall, to get some items. And that's when Gimgoon wants to come online. But until then, 957 is just going to run away with it and push.
As the double Doran's blade to try and keep him nice and sustained at the top side of the map. In this mid lane, after that teleport pickup for Xiye, he's been able to pick up a nice advantage in terms of experience against Bing. 10 CS lead as well over the Azir. That is not
Lots
fun.
of pressure. Not something that is surprising, though, of course. Mystic, Xiye able to put down way too much pressure and clear the wave extremely quickly, even against an Azir. It's just about at what time in the game each respective champion is strong. So there's no stinger to be seen from Bing. He's committed towards a Fiendish Codex first and foremost for some cooldown reduction. He may go for the stinger after.
And speaking of time, there are quite a few stopwatches in this game. 6 being picked up across the map. 4 of them on Team WE side. The only one without a pickup is Mystic. So we'll see those being used shortly as we are past the 6-minute mark, so they are online. Top side of the map, you can see Gimgoon is pushing it quite nicely against 957 now, but taking quite a bit of damage from the Vladimir. But again, just like game one, early into the match, it's fairly even between the two teams.
But pretty much everywhere on Summoner's Rift is going well for Team WE this time. There was small disadvantages, maybe places where the pressure was equal, but I would say just going across the board, Bing's the only place that is legitimately equal. However, he's constantly being pushed in. So for what it's worth, I feel like this is a better position for Team WE in game 2.
Oh, Bing's in trouble though. Condi has found him inside of his own jungle.
Oh, that's real bad.
Not good.
Oh,
He doesn't even
worse.
shuffle away. He's forced to flash.
No.
Good night, sweet prince. Condi jumps in and gets the slam down. Pepper trying to get as much damage on the Condi as possible. Stopwatch being used to drop turret aggro. And
Oh, no.
957's right behind Pepper as well. Jumps on top of him, gets the ultimate down. And Sejuani's going to fall as well. Big misplays out of the Azir in the mid lane.
That was a very depressing series of events for FunFlus Phoenix's mid laner Bing. He dies, the flash is gone, the cleanse doesn't matter because he died to the damage. And suddenly the bottom lane of Team WE arrives to help siege the structures down. And just like that, a mistake causes everything to cascade.
And the pace of this game is much faster for Team WE heading into game number 2. We can watch it again. Oh, just cover your eyes.
It hurts to watch. It missed. Don't worry, I'll go over the... Oh, no. And then he's asleep. That hurts so much. Why are we showing this? The pain. Oh, no, we watched the rest of it.
I mean, you're trying to analyze this. I can hear the Mandarin casters in the background trying to analyze this, and they're just laughing, Rusty.
It's because it's funny. I feel so bad for him.
Oh,
Everything that could have went wrong for him in that small window.
Not good. Team WE take the biggest advantage out of that. They're picking up a 3,000 gold lead just 10 minutes into this match. xiye is going to... He's picked up another teleport, Rusty.
Oh, you're damn right he did.
Going to be able to pick up blue buff as well on top of that and return straight back into the middle lane.
He could very easily teleport to the top lane if he wants as well and try and influence the Vladimir lane, where there is a summoner spell disadvantage for 957 currently. If you were to pick any lane, that is a very viable one.
Gimgoon still has his teleport available. It's changed. xiye.
You didn't see anything. What minion? That never existed.
He's good at that. FunFlus Phoenix, though, they are the team that we normally see go for the early game brawls, the early game skirmishes, but Team WE just seem to have beat them to the punch this time around.
They certainly have. Of course, we mentioned why it happened. I don't know if it was explicitly the best move from Team WE. Condi was just pushing aggressively towards a red buff. And yeah, he found a very good opportunity to engage onto Bing to get some damage down onto the Azir. It's just about how severe the repercussions were of that mistake from Bing. A turret falls, the first turret, and the mid lane turret at that just opens up the map for xiye. Completely wide open.
I see Condi being a bit more aggressive now as well. Takes some harass from Bing as well as Pepper, but he's still fairly healthy.
He has the red buff and a 2-level advantage, so he was getting some extra health back.
That is disgusting. Level 8 to level 6 at the moment in favor of Condi.
This is what happens from the early pressure in the jungle role. Of course, we saw them duke it out at level 2. That gives a slight advantage over to Condi, and that's just continued to get worse and worse. And now that there's no mid lane control, he loses access to Raptors as easily as he would like, and that's one of the most important camps available for any jungler.
Team WE able to slowly choke out the jungle from FunFlus Phoenix. Condi is taking control bottom side of the map because they see a farming behind the turret that Azir's put down the mid lane. That sleepy troll level just goes way too far.
He was trying to get some vision, I think, on that side. Maybe stop a Sejuani from ganking him if he wants to hit the turret. Perhaps he just wants to clear the wave and felt like that was the safest way to do it. But ultimately, he's leaving the lane. Gimgoon's teleporting bottom right
Trying
now.
to get into the back lines. Chris gets a good ultimate off onto Ben. He pops his own, trying to charge out of this team fight. Gimgoon puts the bear trap in a row, trying to pull Ben back, but he can't. Now, Team WE trying to get the return. They're teleporting the bottom lane. Big Hemo play coming out from 957. Good damage in the back lines, but it's really Gimgoon who's trying to go all out and be the hero. He just can't quite. He will fall. Team WE get the return pick.
Gimgoon tries his best, but really with no support, with no backup arriving, and no opportunity to make the play. Team WE can just look at the structures. Now, it's risky to commit to this, but there are no ultimates besides the Azir available, and they're seeing him walk towards the bottom lane currently, so perhaps FPX can hold.
Turret is really low. xiye still trying to poke in the back lines. Jumps forward, doesn't get the paddle star. Sleepy Trouble Bubble does not connect either. Pepper trying to hold on to this turret. The rest of FunFlus Phoenix, they successfully defend one wave. Top lane's going to be pushing as well. WWE have the option to try and move towards this dragon.
They may, but I actually would expect a recall from them. Gimgoon's already respawned. He's running back towards the top side of the rift as well. There's a big cost expended once again from FPX in defense of this structure. They've done their absolute best to try and hold it, and they will hold it as the final result, but it all starts off here. Ben caught out of position. Ben is Rakan. The amount of distance that he covers means that not even the bear trap on a rope can stay connected because Gimgoon can't move. And a lovely dodge from Mystic as well on the Sejuani ultimate. Timed to perfection. And now Gimgoon's trying to fight everybody. 957's trying to fight everybody at the same time, but only one team has to back away.
Still a 3,400 gold lead for Team WE at the moment. They'll reset the lanes, so 957 heads back towards top side of the map. Both teleports are down for the top laners.
WE didn't commit to the Drake either. And at this stage, because the map is closer to what you would call reset, there is a chance that the trade is available on the Rift Herald if someone does look towards the Drake. So perhaps they may not overcommit or overexert themselves too hard for that objective. Right now, Condi, he knows what he wants.
Oh, he's been timing that red buff time and time again. Pepper does get spot out by the scrying orb. However, Xiye's right there. He tries to go for the fight. Condi in some trouble. Has to smite red buff for some health. Blast Cone not going to bring him back. Xiye just throws him deeper into the jungle. Bing gets up a return kill. He desperately needed that.
Unlucky for Condi, as xiye gets himself out alive and sacrifices his jungler for it.
That's greedy.
But the first good move, honestly, from the side of FPX in defense of their jungle. This feels like the first moment where they've been able to put some commitment towards something and be successful from it.
With Braum being on the top side of the map, though, LWX is not able to defend against Mystic's push in the bottom lane. He takes down what was remaining of that bottom lane out to turret. Gimgoon now actually being quite aggressive against 957 top side of the map. That's a good trade.
Very good trade. He's starting to hit those item breakpoints as well. The Phage and the Tiamat, and just getting up to extra levels and extra health for the Kled. So as the trades in top lane go, when you're against a very squishy health Vladimir, Kled does start to come online pretty quickly.
Oh no, guess who picked up another teleport, Rusty?
Oh, I couldn't imagine what the answer would be here.
FunFlus Phoenix tried to take a Mountain Dragon. However, with Xiye teleporting back into the mid lane and Condi respawning, it's just a good leash for Team WE.
You know, if these teams could just stop team fighting and giving him teleports, then maybe it wouldn't happen. And now he's got a GLP 800, so he can clear the wave if he wants.
Condi picks up Mountain Dragon for his team. Next one to spawn is going to be another Mountain Dragon.
Very handy second Drake to get for yourself as well when you're snowballing a game out. WE through their bottom lane as they're recalling. I would expect they swap lanes and go towards the top side of the map. Should be the next transition.
That gives them the opportunity to contest for Rift Herald as well.
And of course, the way that Gimgoon is currently playing the lane, being super aggressive, you want to hope the communication is sound from FPX and that he doesn't all in.
Well, FunFlus Phoenix identified that threat, picking not only the bottom lane out to turret, but also Rift Herald. So they know that's the trade that Team WE are going to try and look for and trade up, so to speak.
Yep.
Gimgoon has pushed in the top lane quite nicely. He's going back to base. Teleport is available. And if you're FunFlus Phoenix, do you just concede that trade? What's the advantage trade that you try to make here?
I mean, I don't think there is an advantageous trade for them. They brought Sejuani down to make sure this turret is secured for them as well, to push the Vladimir away. They have the tempo on this trade. They were down here earlier, and Gimgoon also cleared a minion wave. So perhaps a bit of a mistake from Team WE as to how far behind they are in the trade. But they should still get both of these secured. It is interesting, though, to note that FPX didn't overpush. They didn't go for a second structure. They want to run to the Herald and perhaps stop it from going down.
Yep, they know it's been started. It's been pinged out by FPX quite heavily. LWX has gone back to base. Condi has got good damage onto this Rift Herald, though, so that should be secured for Team WE. They trade up once more.
Yeah. FPX just changed their mind. They pinged it. They knew it was being done. They don't actually commit to any kind of fights or movements around the objective of Herald. They just let it go. They trade down to get themselves some recalls and some better timing as to when they go back to base.
And just resetting the map once again. Taking stock of things, there's a 5,000 gold lead for Team WE. Started the game nice and strong. Picked up a few early gold leads for themselves. And then one small skirmish, or one big mistake, I should say, coming out from Bing. Team WE capitalized and have slowly been taking incremental advantages now.
And amusingly, of course, Bing's only 12 CS behind. He has got a kill, so it doesn't look like he's doing that poorly. And Azir, very high scaling champion. So mostly, Bing's okay. he just might be a little bit tilted.
Oh.
I mean, when
Who wouldn't be?
Yeah, when you make that play yourself, you have every right to feel tilted.
Everyone makes that play at least once in League of Legends, where you just go, everything I could have done wrong went wrong, and now I hate myself.
Yeah.
But he's playing fine for now. But FunFlus Phoenix, being that early game team, it seems like their opportunities to try and come back in this game are slowly disappearing. WE are that late game team fighting team, and with a lead, they're happy to take you to late game still.
Yeah, starting to bleed them out just a little bit too much. With a goal difference this high at 18 minutes, you have to look towards the items as well and say that maybe this is one of those only opportunities in the game that FPX can look at their items and feel a little bit more content about it. But they'll need to pick that fight pretty quickly and pretty aggressively, and they might even need to pick someone off before the fight happens, just so that they can still get that edge.
And again, just resetting across the map. Mystic and Ben will make their way towards the top side. Condi, again, he's timed this red buff to perfection, Rusty. It seems like that's the objective that Team WE have played around since level 2.
He's hungry for some bramblebacks. He does love him some red buffs. He's also just sitting on the side of the map where his duo lane is currently residing, so there should be no presence from FPX in defense of this red buff. It should just be a free secure, and you can see the vision there as well, littered through the topside jungle of the FunFlus Phoenix roster. It's just the free red buff, and honestly, that's not even the #1 priority.
WE have taken full advantage of this, throwing Rift Herald into the top side of the map. They've got 957 as well as Ben in the top lane. Xiye is making the rotation. Good damage on the top lane in a turret. Won't be able to take it down with this push, but sets it up to be knocked down later on.
Yep, they do force all of FPX to attend the top lane to actually defend it. Gimgoon's the current nuisance, I would say, for the WE roster. It forces WE 957 to go back to base. He has to try and defend this, so unfortunately for WE, they don't overcommit themselves to a turret for free. Gimgoon's actually trading fairly equally.
Gets good damage onto that turret, relieves some pressure from FunFlus Phoenix. And what we talked about at the start of today, Rusty, or I should say what the analyst has talked about, was how Pepper, you know, he's happy to let Condi come into his jungle, happy to fight him there. And what you mentioned in Champion Select is Sejuani's just not that champion that he could do it on. And this whole game, fights over red buff time and time again. Chris almost finds them. Fights over red buff time and time again. That's the setup that Team WE have been relying on every single time, and they get so many small advantages. It's turned into a 5,000 gold lead. Now Ping's going out towards the Baron. That should be the next objective they set up for.
And I do wonder if the Sejuani is the ultimate difference or deal breaker for the FPX team as well. Maybe that could have been something more aggressive. We actually suggested the Kha'Zix. Perhaps it wasn't banned. It was just not picked. And that feels like it's right up the wheelhouse of Pepper and his champion pool. But choosing the Sejuani. We mentioned, of course, the reason for the Sejuani may be a drafting advantage as they're trying to get xiye.
Xiye does not get locked down by the ultimate, but Bing will throw him back. Stopwatch gets used by Zoe, keeping himself alive for a little bit longer, but Pepper will pick up that kill. And FPX find a pick in the mid lane.
Mostly clean, secure. There is a Mountain Drake in 15 seconds and a Baron alive. I don't feel like FPX can siege any structures, but you take that pick for what it's worth, and it is a very important and crucial pick to get at this time in the game, just before the objectives.
I mean, we always say any trade when you're behind is good for the team that's behind. Any trade up is even better. So they'll take the pick, they'll try and work for this Mountain Dragon. Team WE look like they want to go for a small fight over it.
Yeah, Condi's looking.
Xiye used both his summoner spells, so he can't spellbook into this team fight with a teleport. Condi jumps in. He will be able to take away the Mountain Dragon, but he pays for it with his life. Full-blown team fight breaks out. FunFlus Phoenix, they have the numbers advantage. 957 pops his own stopwatch, but he gets taken down. Double kill for LWX. He's going to be able to pick up the third. LWX, what a monster so far in this series. Pulling the game back for FunFlus Phoenix.
LWX feels unstoppable, and FPX get all of these kills. Team WE in a 4v5 say, you know what? We can take the Drake. Condi goes over the wall and says, I will sacrifice myself. What are you all doing here? And then suddenly a full team fight just breaks out as a result. Condi, again, FPX make the correct call. They choose to kill him before they go for the Drake. So Condi's gone. Fight starts and Ben knocks everybody up. Mystic free hitting, but Mystic is free hitting tanks, which is with Braum, Kled, and a Sejuani. The damage dealers of LWX and Bing completely unattended. No one can stop them, and they're just a Baron.
Yeah, now they're the ones want to go for Baron. The son of Baron is waiting outside a bit. Can he go for the steal? He got the Dragon. He can't get the Baron. That's picked up by Pepper. And once again, FunFlus Phoenix turn on the heat. One kill picked up under Condi. Xiye will send someone to sleep. 957 and Ben trying to chase on forward. Sleepy Trouble Bubble does not connect. Xiye still looking for the damage. Gimgoon's been able to teleport out. He has unsealed Spellbook, but he can't get back into this team fight just yet.
Super awkward bottleneck though for FPX. They have to fight in some way, and there's no teleport for Gimgoon.
Bubble goes on towards a big knock-up coming out of Ben. Stopwatch being used by Chris. Pepper tries to turn around. Double kill picked up by 957. Pepper's able to get one. LWS trying to go toe-to-toe. Mystic pops his ultimate. Will take him down. Gets the shutdown, as well as the Emperor falling on the back of that. Go to sleep, Gimgoon. You're going to take some damage off the back of that as well. Big team fight for Team WE, but FPX do get the Baron.
Gimgoon had no opportunity to get into the fight. No ultimate, no teleport. He recalls and tries to keep a Baron buff alive for FPX. If he stayed, things may have been different. If Chris put up the door as he was put to sleep, things may have been different. And LWX stood steadfast and tried his hardest to defy WE, and against all odds, they almost got another team fight victory, but not a chance in the end, unfortunately. Mystic shows up too strong off the back of Ben's engage, and here it goes. Azir puts up the turret, it contributes, but with a Vladimir ultimate on top of a Rakan engage, it doesn't really feel like there's any chance in the world where FPX were going to fight back. LWX, he sees a moment, he sees a chance, but they put Gimgoon to sleep, and then they put Gimgoon to sleep again. And that was perhaps the only chance they had at coming back.
Xiye as well with the Paddle Star snipe onto Bing. Bing hung in the wall means there was only one direction he could run, and Xiye got it right. However, FunFlus Phoenix, they still trade fairly well. They're 7-7 on kills, 3 turrets behind. But most importantly, they are only 4,000 gold behind Team WE now. They're not bleeding out like we were watching them bleed out at about 20 minutes into this match.
They've controlled the difference between both of these teams. There's only 4,000 separating them, and that is less than what it was before all of the chaos actually broke out onto Summoner's Rift. There's no Baron to be secured by Team WE. That belongs to just Gimgoon, and unfortunately for FunFlus Phoenix, Gimgoon, the top laner, now has to group up with the team if they want to utilize the Baron buff. And that's a tragedy for any Kled or for any top laner to have to do that. That's just the state of the game. And realistically, with a top lane outer turret still standing, if FPX are able to pick that one up, the gold difference is even less.
With that as well, most stopwatches have been broken. Only Gimgoon's is left up. 957 has upgraded his into a Zhonya's Hourglass. It's Pepper again looking for an engage in the mid lane.
Take any chances you can to try and poke someone or catch someone out of position. As Team WE play the game currently, they have been caught out of position a couple of times. They have made some questionable choices at some awkward moments. Fighting over the Mountain Drake was the #1 problem. But they got the Drake, and they still have a gold lead.
And I love that gold lead does sit on the top lane for Gimgoon. And in the mid lane as well as bottom lane for Xiye as well as Mystic. Xiye has picked up the Infinity Edge, Essence Reaver as well as Phantom Dancer. Across from him, LWX with the arguably cheaper build, Guinsu's Rage Blade, Wit's End, now going for the Blade of the Ruined King.
Once he gets the Blade of the Ruined King, he'll still be doing a whole lot of damage to the tanks of WE, to the Vladimir as well, the health stackers. He'll chunk them all down, but until such a time, I feel like Mystic is far too strong. I feel like Xiye is far too strong, and they just need to hold on.
LWX is also the only person on his team right now that can deal with the lifesteal coming out from 957. With Izzy stopping the healing. 957 is very strong on this Vladimir at the moment. See Team WE still pushing for more turrets. Bottom lane inner turret falls.
Crisp had the door up this time, so he doesn't actually get poked. Braum is a prime target if you're able to chunk him out. As one of the big parts of defending the carries every time as Zoe sieges and pushes forwards aggressively. Not again.
Put him to sleep again. Puts the door up. Paddle Star. A little bit too slow coming out from Xiye this time, but they will get Bing. He goes to sleep. Chris and Gimgoon will eat the Paddle Star for him.
And this time with no door, that's exactly what Xiye will be able to do. The siege is constant. It's frustrating to have to deal with. And I feel like the pressure is starting to mount. Now, they don't have a Baron buff to help this siege, but that's why Xie's job and role in these sieges is incredibly important. He does his job correctly, a turret just drops.
Good timing as well, because Mountain Dragon is going to come back up. giving Team WE a head start to make their way towards the objective and try and take it down.
On the third, no less.
Just going to make these sieges even more impossible for FunFlus Phoenix to deal with. Yes, Gimgoon had the Baron buff, but that's since expired. And it's going to be coming back up in 2 minutes. Dragon falls to Team WE, one final Elemental Dragon before the Elder comes online.
And the gold difference just completely swole up as well. Almost out of proportions, unfortunately, for FPX. It was 4,000 at one point a couple of minutes ago. And without the Baron buff, Team WE just accelerated the pace of this game. It's up even further. The items are almost too out of control to handle. As we're getting closer to 4th completed items for Team WE's major carries in xiye and Mystic. LWX, as you mentioned, is the only fighting resistance of the roster. But he doesn't even have 3 items himself yet.
Not yet. On top of that, Mystic picking up his next Zeal item soon. And it's half of it complete. Gimgoon on the top side of the map has not only the Titanic Hydra, but also the Black Cleaver picked up. So stacking health quite nicely. Needs to pick up some resistance and stun though, because Void Staff on both of the AP carries for the side of Team WE. Last Whisper will be shortly coming for Mystic.
And I think there is one last chance for FPX to get a victory in game number 2 here to just close out the entire series. I would say that is the Baron in 45 seconds. One place that WE may take the fight, may force the fight even. I wouldn't recommend that WE does it, but I have a feeling they may.
Could be the best place for FunFlus Phoenix to put up their final stand. Let's see if they do. Xiye being aggressive in the mid lane, trying to poke out anyone who comes forward. Battlestar not going to connect though. And it's FunFlus Phoenix that are looking to try and push for this turret. Baron up in 20 seconds. Ben waiting in the wings, trying to see if he can go for that engage.
Just getting good pressure down the middle lane, of course. They stay grouped as 5 no matter where they go.
They jump onto Pepper. That knocks his passive off, so Pepper's not going to be as tanky on this Sejuani for a while. Chris was taking some poke coming out from Xiye as well.
And Ben was looking for an engage as well at any moment, so all that damage fish may just mean the Baron is too risky for FPX to be near. They'll try to keep themselves in it. Another minion wave is what it takes, though, for Braum to get some health back, and he's far too chunked out from another Zoe Q.
Pepper will be able to pick up his passive once again, but WE setting up for this Baron. Battlestar doesn't deal too much damage to LWX that close range. However, Baron at half health just from Mystic and Ben. They will chunk out LWX. Crisp is low. Being at half health means that a team fight starts here. The main carries are so low. Pepper and Chris in the front line below half health. 957 goes forward. Pepper throws out the ultimate. Lockett trying to keep the Sejuani alive. FunFlus Phoenix will stay alive off the back of that initial engage. But Team WE, they have control over the Baron pit.
Yeah, Living doesn't do anything about dealing with this Baron buff that will eventually go down to Team WE if xiye doesn't kill the entire roster of FPX first. So.
WE get it.
Well, and there's the kill. So simultaneous almost. That was a lot of damage.
Snipes off the Azir. There's nothing much that he could do there. And Team WE now going to use that Baron buff and march down mid lane. 40 seconds on being. There's not too much FunFlus Phoenix can do to defend this.
No, with the mid laner gone, a lot of their wave clear missing, and even against a Baron buff, I feel like this structure is just going to drop. And ultimately, whilst they're running down the mid lane, getting the inhib, I would expect they go towards top side and just take the next best thing already prepared for them in advance.
Making sure they play this one slow and steady. Ben jumps over the wall towards Xiye, making sure he can contribute to the team. 957 has swapped over to teleport, so he will be able to join the team on the top side of the map if he needs to. Pepper has snuck around behind the back lines. This could be the Hail Mary play.
He doesn't even have the ultimate though, so Sejuani can't do anything about this. In fact, WE just walked towards him, and he has to back away. Not even a desperation play is possible yet.
They decided to stick around. Pepper, he's got a second to do this. Charges in. They find Mystic. Charge comes through for Gimgoon as well. Ben jumps forward. He may be that sacrificial lamb. Locked down, taken down. FunFlus Phoenix get a pick, and they get Xiye as well with the cleanse being used. Chris throws out the ultimate, making sure he can block them off, but Xiye snipes them off. LWX into the front lines. He's got Mystic. He's still going forward. Tried to juke this one out. No, the arrow went the wrong direction. That is unfortunate coming out from LWX. Triple kill picked up by Xiye. Once the snipe snipe out Bing. Can't quite find him, but Condi's making his way back into this team fight. Team WE have their eyes set on the top lane.
xiye does have a flash ready if he wants to try and snipe out one more time. You can try his hardest to do it, and they're still going for the kills.
Condi still chasing him, jumps forward, throws out the Cataclysm. Bing will now use his ultimate. xiye trying to find a way in. Portal jumps, can't throw out the Paddle Star, but W will take another inhibitor.
And with that inhib, actually, with the Barra buff, it looks like they're just going to go towards finishing the game as well.
Teleport coming in, I believe Ben using the unsealed spellbook for that, changing out 2 summoner spells. Means there's 4 members strong from Team WE. They're going to put Bing to sleep. They take him down as well. Nexus is going to fall, and we're going to game number 3.
And how the tides have turned in this series as well. We saw a fantastic start from FunFlus Phoenix. We saw a great carry performance from LWX. And then we come into the second game, and it feels like all of the positives that we saw of FPX were just completely thrown to the wayside, and there was no chance for LWX to carry. There was no chance for anything really to happen. WE still didn't look like the perfect team, still not the team that you want to see from them, but they were well and truly good enough to get a victory in this game.
Condi as well, off the back of his early game performance, was able to snowball a nice lead for Team WE. Making sure he took down Pepper inside of his own jungle, make sure he took that matchup on Jarvan. And every single red buff that came up in that game, Rusty, he was able to contest FPX every single time and get those small advantages that we know Team WE like to fight for.
Something that they said they would do before the game even started. They're going to invade, they're going to take away your jungle camps, and Pepper was left at level 2 wondering what he's able to do as a Sejuani to stop this from happening. Just from very clear and strong 2v2 play from xiye and Condi, controlling mid, controlling the jungle simultaneously.
xiye was the one that picks up the huge damage on his Zoe that time round. Not too many flashy plays, but there were just some moments where everything was going wrong for FunFlus Phoenix.
I mean, Zoe could also make very flashy plays from xiye, but all he needed to do was apply damage. All they really needed to do from the Team WE roster was threaten to take an objective, to siege a turret, to whatever it was. That threat was enough to force FPX to walk up and try and contest that. Zoe pushed him away. The objective was free. Rinse and repeat until the end of the game.
Pretty much. FunFlus Phoenix, they had a few opportunities to fight back, and there was a time where they were looking like they were taking back control of the game, but W had an answer every single time they started to falter.
Yeah, and that one moment was off a WE mistake, right? So they got it back very quickly.
They certainly did. But to break down that game further and to send us into game number 3, let's send it back to the analyst desk.
Cheers, Fish, and you know what? FPX, they're the type of team that will win fast or they'll die trying. And I can appreciate that a lot from a team.
Live fast, die.
Yeah, quite literally, because they will just go in constantly. If it doesn't work out, then they'll just go in again. And I think Kled symbolized all of that in one pick.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have resident Kled expert Clement on the desk right now, but we're taking a chance to talk to him kind of between games. Should be noted that this is the second Kled that we've seen globally. The first one was played by Cloud9, Licorice up into the top lane. This time around, we had an unsealed spellbook Kled. Apparently, MMD's been running that in solo queue up in the challenger level, and basically it was just a more defensive version of Kled. You know, he didn't go for domination tree and having access to sudden impact. So he's saying, okay, lane phase is probably going to be a little bit rocky. I've got a Sejuani in the jungle, so let's just play this around the summoner spells and late game potential, more of a tanky oriented build.
Yeah, it was sad though, because this is the second time that Gimgoon brings out a pick, and Gimgoon is innocent of these crimes, you know? Like, he didn't do anything wrong. It's not his fault, but he brings out the Urgot, they lose with it. He brings out the Kled, they lose with it, and we'll never see them again. He
is an accomplice in this. He is the getaway driver. So they give last pick from red side to Gimgoon. He pulls out another kind of unorthodox pick. You mentioned the Urgot previously, but the thing is as last pick, he still sees the Sejuani. It is so important to have jungle priority if you're going to take that type of matchup. And like Sejuani into Jarvan, you can be safe around that. You can get around it, but Sejuani just got absolutely destroyed in the 1v1 early on by Jarvan, which meant that Kled wasn't going to do anything.
I have my thoughts on top lane, but let's go into the man of the match, which is xiye on his Zoe. Now, I also have to ask the question: is why are we leaving Zoe open? Why is Zoe?
They beat us the first time, Pulse.
They did, yes, but I mean, like, this is what the most picked champion now in WE because people keep letting them have it.
I really don't have an answer. I don't think Zoe should be left open. I don't necessarily think she's the highest priority champion of the game right now, but these drafts have been really wonky, in my opinion, about what we're grabbing when and how we're kind of sculpting our strategies and denying enemy team strategies. But the Zoe left open, I don't necessarily think it was the Zoe that won the game. I think she's, yes, still a very strong champion on 8.1, but again, if your Sejuani gets destroyed in the jungle, it means that you have no priority in the top side jungle, so Kled suddenly now becomes worthless, and then from bad to worse for Bing. It was like the car went into free fall and then just continued to roll, stopped rolling, and exploded.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to spare you the replay of that one because, oh my lord, it's just like you could see the moment in which he tilted and then everyone tilted who was watching that play. But we are going to take a look at this replay where FPX actually won a fight near Dragon.
And this is the thing, the turnaround starts to look good, and I want people to pay attention to what Bing is doing in this fight. Yes, he's the Azir and he's just letting his Sand Soldiers talk for him, but the fact of the matter is he's got 3 Sand Soldiers on the back line and he's completely zoned out Rakan and Xayah. And from here, I feel like FPX get a little bit too hypey. They decide that they want to run it from the Dragon.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, into the Baron. And all of the effort, the momentum that they had built there suddenly backfires and Team W just run it right back.
But that's what I respect about them, because they went into the Baron, then went for the 50-50 smite steal after Condi had just stolen Dragon and were like, we'll take it. And then what happens? Gimgoon just teleports back to base, leaves his team out to Dragon, and it's like, yes, goodbye. And then they all just get ace, and the game ends. It's like, well, okay, but I can respect them continuously going in, because if that works, then they've just doubled down and they've just won the game.
And LWX just trying to really dig deep on that Varus. He's like, we're not losing today, and I can't carry.
No.
Like, I'm dealing with Muppets right now.
But heading into that third game, man, I thought we were still in the first game, but heading into that third game, I still feel like FPX can win. If that play didn't happen mid lane, if Bing didn't just walk into the wall.
Yeah, and I agree with that. The thing is Team W are capitalizing on FPX mistakes to win these games. They're still not being quite the proactive team that I want to see from them. Again, that's to be expected. Team W are still warming up. They're ramping back up to their original form. It's now kind of like, where is the ceiling for this team? Because we keep setting it on Team WE, and they keep shifting it slightly higher and higher. But how high does it go from this point? You know, from a semifinals appearance at Worlds. And Team WE fans want to see it go all the way. But I don't know if there's any steam left in them, because again, it's the same problems that are plaguing them. The draft looks super strange. They don't run multiple compositions, and even though 957 says their champion pools are expanding and large, it still feels very small.
Yeah, however, they have managed to push WE to a Game 3 as well, so FPX, they still have one final chance to come back in this series. We'll see if they can do it right after this break.